You and I both know gas prices are extremely high right now, but today the White House says it's doing something about it. Namely, tapping the strategic petroleum reserves. The Biden administration is releasing 50 million barrels of oil in mid-December to try and pump some supply into our country to help bring down the price of gas. The White House says this is not just happening here. It's being done in coordination with other major energy-consuming countries like China, India, Japan, Korea, and the UK. They will also release some of their own reserves. The president calls this move the largest ever release of oil from our country's strategic reserves. But it's important to understand, even the energy secretary says, yes, the price of gas will come down eventually. It might not happen immediately. It could take a few weeks. So it's also unclear how oil-producing nations of OPEC Plus will respond to all of this. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and other Gulf countries that make up OPEC Plus have made it very clear that they intend to control the supply of oil to keep prices high for the time being. Critics say this workaround by the White House in coordination with all these other energy-consuming countries may actually cause OPEC Plus to pull the supply back even further. We will just have to wait and see what happens. Oil prices, though, have dropped over the last few days as investors have been anticipating this move by the White House. AAA says the average cost of a gallon of gas here in the U.S. today is $3.40, which is definitely less than it has been, but it's still significantly more than it was this time last year. At that point, it was $2.11 a gallon. The Department of Justice has officially asked the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals to allow the OSHA vaccine and testing mandate to continue while all the lawsuits play out in court. DOJ, on behalf of the Labor Department and OSHA, filed this 55-page motion today asking these appellate judges to lift the stay put in place by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals before the multi-circuit lottery was held last week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch these two videos. Now, in today's filing, which we all knew was coming, the federal government argues the Fifth Circuit got a lot of things wrong. And if the Sixth Circuit further delays OSHA's emergency temporary standard, it would likely cost many lives per day, in addition to large numbers of hospitalizations, other serious health effects, and tremendous expenses. The OSHA ETS would require workers at all U.S. companies with more than 100 employees to either be vaccinated or tested regularly by January 4th. The government goes on to argue that even if the Sixth Circuit decides not to lift the stay and to keep the OSHA ETS on pause while this all plays out in the courts, the judges should at least modify the Fifth Circuit ruling to allow the government to impose a requirement that unvaccinated workers wear a mask and be routinely tested for COVID-19. The Sixth Circuit appellate judges have not ruled on this filing just yet. Now, dozens of states, unions, and companies have all filed lawsuits to put a stop to this OSHA rule. They argue the mandate violates the First Amendment, exceeds OSHA's authority, and Congress's ability to oversee these types of federal agencies, among many other things. Those cases are all being transferred into the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, and that court will ultimately rule on all of these cases.